I hope they can hear me on Zoom. All right, how's everyone doing? Good? We got a big crowd here. Everybody's got our family reunion, but that's okay. So we've got Broch talking to us today. We're just gonna go over a couple of things that are gonna be happening in the market center soon. Can you? I don't feel like I'm talking very loud. Okay, well, we're actually gonna start off with Corey real quick with Home Warranty of America. He's just gonna come talk for just a second.
Recovered from your weekend, kinda, maybe?
I didn't get to play, so.
Different ways. Well, those who went to the family reunion, welcome back. Those who didn't, you probably missed out on a great trip. I've been able to go to a couple of those. Just to let you know, my name is Corey Barfus, and I am with HWA, Home Warranty of America, which is home warranties, obviously. And so, as you well know, you've come to the infomercial of the sales meeting. Anyways, providing a little bit of lunch. So after you're done here, please, I got more than there are of you here. So take a double if you need. Take somebody back to the other office and feed them. So let's talk a little bit about home warranties. Home warranties are typically something that is used with or that's associated with real estate transactions. In reality, you can buy one at any time for your personal home or whatever it is, but typically we associate that with the transaction of the home. And with the market being a little bit crazy the last couple of years, things have changed, and home warranties are being either pushed aside, taken off deal, not utilized, or fully understood. And so it's one of those things that a lot of people don't really understand about home warranties, and it's something I could take a whole sales meeting on and talk about, but I'm not, because Broch has more interesting things than I have to talk about. But let's talk about a little bit about what home warranty is and what they aren't. What they aren't is something in place to fix everything that the home inspector finds wrong with the house, right? That's not what they're there for. Home warranties, people ask, what do they cover? Well, think of a peach. Plumbing, electrical, appliances, cooling, and heating. They cover pretty much the mechanical part to the home. Whether you use us or any of the other home warranty companies out there, last time I looked with the Board of Insurance in Utah, we have about 42 of them in the state. So you guys have a lot of choices. Yeah. And so we have worked really hard to partner with Keller Williams. I've been a part of this Keller Williams office for about 7 years. And for those who don't know me, hopefully we get together and talk. So what sets HWA different from everybody else that's out there that you have a choice from? One, we're 13 months, not 12 months, which is typically most of my competitors. We've been in business for 26 years. We're nationwide. People go, well, why do I care about nationwide? Any of you guys have clients that move out of state and you still kind of want to be connected with them? Guess what? We can put a home warranty on them if they move to New York and allow you to still be in connection with them with their home warranty. And people go, well, why would I want that? Because when they have a claim, we send you something that says they had a claim. That's a nice soft touch to allow you to reach back out and say, hey, I saw you had your garbage disposal replaced. How are things going? Just wanted to check in, make sure everything else is going well. Well, let's talk about buyers and sellers. What are the advantages of both buyers and sellers? Because we have a free listing warranty. Free. I don't know why more people don't utilize it. Because if you took a listing today and took a contract today, how soon does it close? Typically about 30, 45 days, unless it's a cash offer, right? If you're like me, I put my car up for sale. First guy that comes to test drive it, check engine light comes on, right? Well, yeah, think of it into the house. So it goes into contract. Next thing you know, the hot water heater goes out. There's $1,200 roughly, give or take. Good thing to have in place. So for the sellers, typically we are seeing multiple offers, correct? So as a seller and a seller's agent, this is a way to allow you and your seller to be able to walk away from that sale without a lot of the pushbacks. Again, like garbage disposal, hot water heater goes out in the first month and they start calling you up and complaining about it, right? That's why you leave it in place. I get a lot of sellers that go, I got multiple offers. I don't feel incentivized to put one on that home, because if they don't want to buy it, then somebody else will. Negotiate that and get away from having that pushback or having those conversations if something that goes wrong. It just makes a nice peace of mind for these people that work so hard to come to the top of the sale to win the bid, to let them have that home with the peace of mind that they're going to be covered for the next 13 months. Now for the buyer's side, they just put all of their money up in, earn it hard money, up their bid over and above, asking, trying to get this house. They finally won the house. If they have any money left over, either the husband or the wife just spend it all on furniture and everything else to make that new home theirs, right? So 3 months down, when it starts getting hot and the AC doesn't work, do they have the $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 to repair that AC? Some yes, some no. Having that home warranty in place helped reduce the out-of-pocket expenses of mechanical parts of the home. Now, again, I don't want to take up any time. Are there any questions about home warranties at all? Yes.
Just a quick question. The seller can get a listing warranty. That's during the duration of the listing.
Duration of the listing.
Contract, you could just have a listing hub. Does that kick in or does it not kick in until they're under contract?
It kicks in the day one, it goes into the MLS and goes for 6 months and renewable at 6 months. I haven't seen anything go 6 months lately.
So does it terminate when the sale is?
It terminates at closing unless the buyer decide to transfer it over to a buyer's warranty and purchase that buyer's warranty. So under the listing side, it covers a total of aggregate of $1,500 towards repairs. But it goes through washer, dryer, hot water dispensers, all the appliances, and that's $1,500 total in the diagnosis, repair, or replacement of any of the components. And that's free. And if it goes to the buyer side, and let's say you spent and got a hot water heater replaced under the listing side, right? We just spent $1,200, $1,300, whatever the case may be. Go to the buyer, says, I don't want a home warranty, or I don't want to use HWA. I'm not going to come back and charge you and say you have to pay this or repay that. It's, hey, thanks for thinking of us, putting it on the listing side. We do that in hope that you will talk to the seller's agent, or the buyer's agent, and hopefully transfer that over to a buyer's warranty. Yeah. Okay. The other thing is a great value. Like I said, 13 months. Anybody know what the top plans are going average for a single family home? About $600, right? We're $525. Okay. Great value. 13 months, $525. Now, a little bit cheaper for townhomes and condos. But again, I don't want to take up the time. I would love if you have any questions or want to talk about home warranties, let's get together. I'll buy the hot chocolate. I'll buy the coffee, Danish, whatever it is. Sit down. Let me waste a little bit of your time and let me just ramble on. You can ask me any in-depth questions you want. We are connected with Keller Williams here. Again, out of all the Keller Williams offices in this state, this is my favorite. And I don't say that because I'm here. It's just that I get a much friendlier vibe out of this office than the others. Even all the one that Boyd Brown's own. I've been to Westfield. I've been to the Salt Lake one. I've been to Emily's new one over there with Eric in not Sugar House, but Fort Union. I've just had a real strong connection here. So I appreciate those who have done business with me. Those who haven't, I hope that you'll keep me in mind and utilize me as a resource, because that's what we want to be, as a resource to help you and your business and your clients stay top of mind. Now, one last thing. Anybody do new homes, new construction? Why would I buy a home warranty on a new construction, right? They're perfect, right? Brand new. We start the day after the contractor's warranty expires, 1 year later. I just put one on my brand new home. I got 1 year from the contractor. I did a 4-year diamond plan, which is our top plan on my house. So that's 5 years. One from the contractor, 4 from HWA. Cost me $866 for 5 years. How long do all your appliances warranties last? 1 year typically, unless you buy the extended warranty. Again, my luck, 1 year and 1 day, my washer stops, right? So that's why new construction, we have that. So sellers, listing coverage, buyers coverage, new construction warranty. We have a lot of options to cover your needs. One of the best things you have, I call it best, you get to deal with me. I will be on your team. I am the team hitter that will go to bat for you every single time, regardless of the challenges you have. So thank you for your time. I will turn it back to you. And I'll be in the back, like I say, after Broch gets done filling you with awesomeness. Be in the back with for lunch and we can chat.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Corey. All right, so just a couple more things before we get to hear from Brock. I promise I'll hurry. Elizabeth's gonna come talk about Tech Bar real quick. We're changing the way we do it starting in March. Talk about it.
Hi, y'all. So Tech Bar currently is Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2:30 to 3:30. It's like a drop-in Q&A. You need help with anything, Command, DocuSign, whatever the case is, pop in. I will help you with whatever that is. We'll get it fixed. And then that currently Tuesday and Thursdays. However, starting March, Tuesdays is going to remain the same and drop in Q&A type session, but Thursdays is going to become training. So look out for a poll from me in the KWSV group to find out what kind of trainings y'all would like to see. And then we're going to start going forward in March. Thursdays from 2:30 to 3:30 will be some kind of technology training. So speaking of technology training, I have a class tomorrow. It's going to be here in this room from 10 to 11. We're going to be working with Command specifically on smart plans and designs. So bring your laptop and we'll work together to go over what is a smart plan, getting that implemented in your business, and then also learning what designs are and how that can benefit you when it comes to social media or any of that.
Any questions on that? Oh, I guess I don't need two microphones. No? Good? Orientation this Thursday. If you're new agents, new sign-ons, this is a great thing to attend. You can come meet the team and learn kind of just all the nitty-gritty about KW. Book club for anybody that enjoys reading. That's not specifically me, but I know a lot of people do. We're reading it as a staff, so technically I'm forced to read it. But it's a really great book. If anyone wants to join in on it, you're welcome to. CE March 1st. This is with Bob Goodson. That will be a really good one to attend. I would recommend that one. Yes, but the hard part is you don't get CE credit if you do it over Zoom. But yeah, it will be. I'll post it on to our YouTube as well. Okay, this is a new class that we're going to be starting first Wednesdays of the month, 11 to 12 p.m. in the training room. Mortgage 101. They will be teaching advanced mortgage every once in a while too. This is just a good base class to attend. And you kind of get an introduction to Intraland. Coffee and Donuts with Rich. This is a great one to attend just because Rich is a pretty cool guy just to talk to. Ignite Your Business. Harrison, have anything on that? No? We're good? Okay. Meet the Masters. So Becca Summers is actually Rich's cousin. She is such a great agent. So she's coming in to do Meet the Masters. I would attend this one as well. How to build a consistent business and get off the roller coaster of real estate. So obviously 22 million in volume. She's kicking butt. Yep, March 10th. And now for Brock and TJ.
Can you hear? Yes.
That one's for Zoom, the one on-
Okay. And then what, sorry, what is this one for? Oh, if people want to talk. Cool. All right. So hi, everybody. I know most everybody here. Most of you know I don't have a sweet Southern belle like the previous one had. So maybe I'm a little more boring, but lead generation, I think I'm capping the lead gen series that you guys have been learning about. Lead gen, we've had a lot of great speakers. Hopefully I'm at least as good as some of them. So lead gen, it's a really favorite topic of mine because it's really the bread and butter of our lives. It's everything that we as salespeople have to focus on is lead gen. It's pretty much everything. So I'll dive in. How do I change this, Samantha? Yeah, that's okay. So this is a little bit about me and my team, just an infographic. A lot of you know me and work with my team. A little bit about me for those of you who don't know. I've been in the industry for 13 years, selling loans full-time for that amount of time. And thankfully for about 10 of the 13, the first 3 were just kind of like getting my feet wet, doing a bunch of cold call dialing, that type of thing. But 10 of the 13, I've been producing at a pretty high level, ranked top 1% in the nation. And last year it was a record breaking, oh, that says 2020, it should be 2021, record breaking 162 million with 423 families that we helped with financing. I didn't present that slide to brag about my numbers, but more to show you, I guess, to make the point, I'm nothing special. Like I'm not smarter than any of you. I probably talk worse than most of you. There's a lot of things that a lot of you probably do better than me, but I'm able to execute at a high level year after year because of my consistent lead gen. And that's what this is all about. So I'll dive in and share a little bit with you. My goal today is to help simplify and maybe de-glamorize the idea of lead gen, prospecting, all these things. A lot of people in sales, myself included, get nervous about lead gen. Man, what do I do? Who do I call? And we overcomplicate it. And the fact is, it's really not that complicated. So a story about the first 2 things. I've broken this down into 3 very, very simple tactics. The first 2 are here on the screen now. And I'll give you a little story about these first 2. So for me, growing up, I was part of a broken family, divorced parents, and I was raised by my mom and my grandma most of my life. My mom was a single mom pretty much my whole life. And maybe not for that reason, but for whatever reason it is, we lived somewhat of a lower middle class lifestyle. It's like TV dinners. My wardrobe was maybe once a year I get a couple of outfits for school, those types of things. But my dad, who I saw, thankfully I've got a great relationship with him now, but I saw my dad maybe once a month, if that. I would be with his mother. The other times when I didn't see them on his weekends. However, what I was able to see, my dad was in this industry and it still is, 35 years in the mortgage industry. And from the outside looking in, I lived this relatively meager lifestyle compared to him. He's always on vacation, super nice house on the hill. He's got sports cars, he's got boats, he's got RVs, all this cool stuff. And it was awesome. And I had a stepbrother, his wife's son. Every time I'd go to their house, we were kind of an outcast, and I was by no means in that of living, right? It was very basic. So early on, I'm talking like 5 years old, I made the decision that, dude, I'm doing loans. Like I'm going to make money, and I'm getting that lifestyle that I had to see from someone I was kind of attached, but it was like the real life rich dad, poor dad. And I made that decision. And that was a very deep, heartfelt decision. I'm like, dude, I'm done. Like watching all this fun stuff happen, and I've got to go through. It's weird, and I'm sure you all can relate. We go through these things, and a lot of you probably made a similar decision to get into this industry for similar reasons. It provides a lifestyle beyond most other industries. Now move to the business. So I did stick to my plan. The decision I made at like 5 years old, I would tell my mom and grandma, I'm going to get into mortgages. I'm going to get rich, build a house for you behind me. So you never, so it was like, it was forever, and I got in the industry, and it was very selfishly driven for a long time, because that was the root of it. I'm like, dude, I want the truck. I want the car. I want the RV. I want all this stuff. And thankfully I accomplished all that stuff, and it lost its luster. Because I'm like, man, what am I shooting for now? And then I was introduced to a coaching program. It's called the Core Coaching, much like Keller Williams, honestly, is the culture. In lending, it's a little bit different. You don't have a bunch of entrepreneurial spirits sitting in an office sharing all the great ideas with each other. In lending, it's different. You're sitting in an office. You don't really know your peers. They're from all over the nation. So I got involved in this coaching program, the Core, and I got beat into my head early on. One, how powerful of a business it is. I mean, I sit in this room and I see people making ungodly amounts of money, and I'm like, wow. I mean, I had some goals, but not this big. So that elevated my goals there. But the big thing that I took away from that was I learned how powerful this business is beyond just the ability for us to create a lifestyle and live something beyond what most people can do in a regular business. But we also have a unique advantage to deliver to people the reality of wealth creation, of homeownership, the American dream. And that's where I defined my purpose. This was, maybe 8 years ago or so is when I got really deep into this. Like, man, I mean, I've been able to accomplish this. Things got boring, but now it's like, wow, I can seriously help people create this lifestyle. Any person, they don't have to make a ton of money. It's just buy real estate and create this wealth to live that lifestyle, generational wealth, let their kids enjoy this type of lifestyle, let their grandkids enjoy this type of lifestyle. And the purpose I defined was that, we really, truly have the power to do that. And those two things led me to make prospecting and building business super easy. It really defining my purpose, because nowadays all I have to do, and this is where I said, let's de-glamorize what we're doing, because all I did was define my purpose. And now every phone call I make, I don't care if they say no. I'm like, what are you, like, no means nothing to me, because I'm like, you're saying no to not being wealthy and rich, right? It's crazy. So these two things I think are the most important to make the decision. You're all here. You've made the decision. Now define your purpose and determine what it is that you can call any person and talk about. I mean, I prospect to a lot of you guys, and those that I prospect to and talk to, all of my conversations boil down to wealth creation strategies, all this stuff, and giving the regular person the ability to create an extraordinary lifestyle through our involvement in their lives. So those are the two most important things I would say, where you begin, and really dumbs it down and simplifies. It doesn't need to be scary to make these calls. We're doing something really powerful for these people. Now, the last one is kind of funny, but like Bill Belichick says to the Patriots, all you have to do, once you've made the decision to be here, which you all have, and you've defined your purpose, all you have to do is do your job. And what is our job? Does anybody have a guess what our job is? What's the most important job that we have? Lead gen, prospect, make calls. I mean, we're salespeople. There's nothing glamorous about that. Over time, which I'll dive into, we will evolve to building a team, and we've got to develop leadership skills, and there's certain things we've got to develop. But the fact is, our job always is and always will be, as long as we're salespeople, prospecting and lead gen. That's all that matters. As you build a team, this becomes even more important, because now your prospecting and lead gen feeds their families, right? And so that's the simple thing. You got to make a decision. You have to define your purpose to simplify the lead gen, and then you just have to get in every day and do your job. So I want to give you some tactics on doing your job. Some of the few things that I've tried to really simplify here. And so these are 3 buckets, the next 3 slides, diving into giving you some tactics and takeaways to, 1, protecting your lead gen time, which is time management, and then some tactics on executing on that lead gen time. So time management, who here is really good at time management? I am, but I've practiced it a long time. I put here in the green, control your business or it will control you. And that's the truth of our worlds. We're in complex businesses. There are landmines that come in our way, unexpected, like constantly. But if you don't control your time or your business, it will control you. And controlling your business means you have to fit lead gen in. So some tactics on basic time blocking, which I think is maybe the biggest fundamental thing when it relates to a salesperson's life. You need to have time blocking dialed in. So red and green time is the first bullet point here. Red and green time, you'll see here, this is, let me come over here. This is an example of what my Monday calendar looks like. And I did that on purpose because my Monday is really good. I do pretty much all green time, but how I do this is kind of like a pass or a fail. If I'm in red time, I'm failing. If I'm in green time, I'm passing. And so if you code your calendar with red and green time, it's real easy to see, am I doing the right thing or am I not? And another cool tactic on this red and green time. You can get on Amazon like a chess clock, and you put a red sticker on one side and a green sticker on the other, and you tap whenever you're in that time and test yourself for like a week. Every hour of the day that you're in the office, if you're on red time, you tap the red time and you see how long you're wasting time in emails, in putting out a fire on a file, and all these things that would be non-money generating activities. That's what green time is. Anything where you're generating money. So that could be being with a client, that could be making sales calls. That's pretty much it. Meeting with a client or making sales calls, or meeting with a potential referral partner. Red time is everything else. So you notice I've got a few things here, which is like personal time, but red time is like my other business that I run. I do a quick little meeting in the mornings. That's red. Warm up, which is emails. That's red. Daily accountability, I get on with you guys. For me, that's green because I'm with a bunch of realtors and you guys are the ones that send me business. Daily team meeting, even though it's a critical and necessary component of our lives, daily team meeting is still red because I'm not making sales, right? I'm not feeding the funnel. Broch and Lexi meeting, that's my assistant. Her and I meet once a week. And pipeline review, which is just, oh, excuse me, this is not Monday. Sorry, this is Wednesday. Pipeline review is what I look at for my current deals under contract. So these are necessary things. I have to do them. They have to be in the time block, but I work to make them as small as possible. And I subconsciously trick my brain into not wanting to be there because it's red time. And then everything else is green time down to the wrap up, which is also red time. So that leads us to the next bullet point. And really what I'm trying to help you guys with here is simplifying what time blocking should look like. Your schedules may not look like this out of the gate. So I wanted to help you understand the concept of red time and green time, and then give you some tactics to start time blocking in pretty much sequential order in when you should do them. Kind of, you'll see here in a moment, but warm up and wrap up. So what's up?
I just want to make a comment.
Yeah.
But it's important to note, that even though, like, for instance, the pipeline
Yep.
is red, it's still, you took the time to block it on your calendar because it still needs to happen.
Yeah.
You designated the difference between money generating activities versus non, but you've acknowledged the fact that they're important simply by putting them on the timeline or on your calendar. And I think that's important too, that what we do put on our calendar, even if it's red time, only put on there things that need to happen, and don't put on there stuff that is super flexible or you just hope might happen.
Yeah, that's a good point. And to that point, a different day, I could only fit one day on here, but every other day besides Wednesday, because I have this big pipeline review time block, I have Broch open time for my team. So that's any problem files, any staffing issues, anything beyond money generating. I always have a time block available. If nothing's there, I fill it with green time to the best of my abilities. But I think being cognizant of what is required in your business, giving it more than enough time. This pipeline generally only takes me like a half hour, but I give it an hour and unless it shrinks down to 15 minutes, maybe I would shrink it to a half an hour. But I put everything I actually need to do, because now I'm eliminating the possibility of landmines in my business, because there's a plan for everything in my calendar. Pipeline reviews for contracts. I've got problem files every other day of the week, because I never know when they're going to come up, but I know for sure they are going to come up. So doing that, and then what it enables me to do is honor my calendar. Every single day I can honor my calendar. I don't have to worry about a team member saying, hey, I've got an issue on this file. I don't even hardly look at them, and I say, hey, put it on problem files. And I don't even think about it. So I can't just get distracted. It keeps my brain clean so that I can get onto these things, which is green time, making money. So warm up and wrap up. That's the first two things you should put on a time block. How many of you here have a time block at all? Cool. Kind of. So some of you do, some of you don't. Hopefully for those that do, this brings some insight to maybe improving your time block. I change mine like every quarter, just because the business needs change. But those of you that don't, I would take this serious and start implementing it, because I think this is the most important thing in success in sales, period, but especially in our industries. I don't know, Jeff, would you agree? This is maybe the most important thing? Yeah. So warm up and wrap up. Basically what that is, I used to call it in time and out time. That's when I'm going to be in the office. I have to honor that. And in a future slide, I'll talk some more about accountability, but I honor that by my team knows when I'm supposed to be there, and I have commitments. When I'm there, there's accountability for me to be there. And when I'm gone, my wife holds me accountable to being gone. So creating accountability around those warm up and wrap up times, which is when you're in the office or in work mode, and then when you're turning work mode off, and then you can fit all your personal stuff, which are also landmines. But again, if you get that warm up and wrap up there, you know, everything personal has to happen outside of those hours. So warm up and wrap up is the first thing. I gave some tips on what you should do there. I mean, I handle email from the previous day, prioritize whatever my to-do is. I play catch up if I forgot to send notes on a file, whatever. I play catch up. And the most important thing for those of you that have a team is this is the time that I start working on delegating as much as I possibly can in the day. So anything that's on my plate, I'm like, so-and-so, handle this. And I just get everything pushed. If I can get a free to-do list, that's all I want, because my to-do list really should be this screen time. That's all I should be doing, because that's my job. So delegate. And then the second most important thing, how many people in here have a team? Have any sort of staff? Anybody? No. So when you don't have a team, implementing the practice of daily team meeting is still critical. Even if you are your team, you may be the only person, right? But in time, you will have a team. And this is a different topic, but as you start building a team, if you are not structured from a calendar perspective and dialing perspective, it's really hard to hold that team accountable to doing what you ask them to do. You know, you need to walk in ready to execute at a high level. So you're the leader you have to be as you start growing your team. So I would say implement daily team meeting. I do mine first thing. The first thing that happens in my mortgage business outside of accountability with you guys is daily team meeting. So we go in, we review the schedule for the day. We review the big rocks. So who knows about this concept, big rocks? There's a few people here from the corporate world that know about this. It is a really awesome concept and something we should all focus on. Maybe one of the biggest takeaways of this that kind of summarizes this whole idea of time management. But Big Rocks says, if you start with the big rocks, the high priorities, the most important things, which would be getting in the office and having a team meeting with your team, right? Getting everything in order. If you get those in the glass first, you have the ability to fit everything else, which is the unimportant rocks, the landmines, all these other things, the sand, which is the fun and the Facebook scrolling for a minute, or the lunch or whatever. You have the ability to fit it all in and put the cap on the top. When I was in college, one of my professors gave this example, and he actually poured a beer inside in it, and that also fit at the end of the day, for those of you that like to have a nightcap. But however, if you don't start with a daily team meeting, reviewing big rocks and highlighting priorities of the day, you're going to start doing this. And what you're going to do, I wish I would have put this graph up, but there's another concept, which is it's the urgent versus important matrix. And it's where you spend your time. Do you spend your time in urgent and non-important tasks, urgent and important tasks, non-urgent, non-important, which is social media, or non-urgent but important? Where you want to be is not urgent and important, which is the top right quadrant. Most of us spend time in the top left quadrant, which is urgent and important. That's why our hair is always on fire, and that's just like the sickness of our industry. This is a way to avoid that. And important for those of you that don't have a team, this is super powerful, because if you get in these habits and practices now, when you build a team, it's going to be like immediate growth for your business. But daily team meeting, big rocks, and then more delegation. Going to come up in the team meeting like, oh, I got a call from Mr. Smith and he had a question about the inspection, this or that or the other. You can just quickly say, all right, cool, we'll call this person, do this, send him this email, CC me on it. If I need to get on a call, schedule it, right? So you delegate and just constantly get in the habit of that. And these first two things are critical to protecting this time in the future. Now, prospecting time's the next most important thing. So daily team meeting for you guys. This would just be a plan for you. You would just be kind of planning your day. That theoretically could be your warm-up time. And then that could ultimately evolve to daily team meeting. And then prospecting time, I say you need at minimum 2 hours of prospecting time, which is outbound lead generation with purpose, with a mission. You're working to get appointments. There's something you're doing, intentional prospecting for at least 2 hours a day. I mean, if we think back to what I said, we just really have to make the decision define our purpose so we simplify and it's not scary, right? Because I love talking about helping people get wealthy. That's fun. I would never hesitate calling. But our job is to prospect. So 2 hours is not, I hear a lot of people like, man, I'm going to try and fit a half an hour or an hour. I mean, to me, it's like, it's literally your only job. So do that and then get more loans or get more transactions, hire somebody to handle the other crap and do more prospecting. And that's where leverage in our industry comes in big. And it's the next thing I would say after these first three, which is warm up, daily team meeting, prospecting time, get you time in. So that's the stuff I almost posted one here where it's my haircut in the middle of the day. I can't fit in at the end of the day for some reason. So my you time goes in and then I have to mold around that because I have to get a haircut. I have to take the kids to school. I have to do certain things, right? So get the you time in, this skeleton. So all you really have is like 90 minutes booked before you start filling in you time. That way the business doesn't begin consuming you. And then, and prospecting time, forgive me, you got to work around that. And then problem solving, which is what I explained earlier. You know for sure there's going to be problems. You can't foresee when they'll come up, what they'll be, but you know they'll be there. Put them in your calendar. So when somebody calls about an issue, you pick up the phone to the client who's freaking out and you say, oh my gosh, that's terrible. Let's talk at 2 o'clock. And you know you already have a time block built to accommodate that time and you'll honor their need. Most important thing. Miscellaneous obligations, would be like pipeline review, my meeting with my personal assistant, and then the remainder would be client and VIP meetings. So these would be listing appointments, showings, if you guys do that, and VIP meetings for you guys would be like that has the capacity to do. You should be filling that in. So you see here, mine says consultations here, and consultations is where my team knows when a client comes in and they need to meet with me for their loan consultation, they just know where to book them. And now if a client appointment comes up, it's not interrupting my green time possibly, because the only time I accept them is during those hours that day. So I backfill everything and now everything's protected. And you can see like this day, 70% of my day is green time. So time management, I think, is priority number one. Does anybody have questions about time blocking? Said on this whole idea. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking, what happens on those days when you break loose or something, right? They call from school and the kids broke an arm.
Yeah.
Or whatever it might happen, right? Does that stress you out? Because now, okay, I'm gonna have to put this on to the side because now something very urgent. Because that's life.
Yeah, it happens. I had to go pick my kid up the other day. Actually, we had to take him to the dentist because he almost knocked his tooth out with his little brother. So that happens. But the next slide will kind of maybe speak to that a little bit. Did it slow me down? Yes. Did I get as many calls as I wanted? No. But I still for sure got calls. I was making calls on the way to the office and I was making calls like on the way back home. It's like the way calendar, the thing. Right? In relationships and marriages with kids, it all comes up. But what do you do? Like it's things I just say it's not negotiable. Like I do it. Maybe it's not as good as I wished I would have, but I still do it. So that's how I handle that. And I'm prepared for it. So that's the next slide. So your question is good. Any other questions on the time blocking? Yeah, we could just send this whole thing out. Sammy, you can send the whole thing out. All right. So now prospecting. Now we've got our framework established and we have now created the time that we can now honor to do what our job is, which is prospecting. So that's more of prep. Prospecting, so a simple plan for consistent execution, and I keep it simple. In my mind, so I've been in this industry long enough and have been through roller coasters in my business of like, I see the shiny object of maybe I should call something else or I should implement this system, or we're all inundated with that. We earn a lot of money in our industry and a lot of people know we earn a lot of money. So they want to give us a bunch of things that will help our business. But the reality is most of it doesn't. right? The more I would say over the past 5 years, I've not implemented any new systems. I've only taken things out to keep things more and more simple. And Jeff's nodding his head, probably the same thing, right? You get lost in this cycle of like, man, I got to build this whole thing. And then it's like, can't execute on anything because it's so complicated. Yeah, right. Yep. So keep it simple. And this goes with prospecting. You don't have to follow my plan. I think it's a really good, it's not even my plan. It's the coaching program that I'm a part of. It's a nationwide coaching program. They coach some of the, if not the highest producing lenders and realtors in the nation. The core training, you can look them up. They are freaking awesome. And they're very aligned with KW, which is cool too. So a lot of the things you'll learn, they don't use the language, the lingo of KW, but the concepts are very aligned. That's why I enjoy working with KW much, actually, is because it's just what I'm brainwashed to know. But theme days and, oh, Tina, you asked like when these things come up, and my wife was crying. It was like my personality, maybe like you mentioned earlier, things me that much, but okay. So a theme day. My coaching program, but like I mentioned just a moment ago, friends, perhaps past clients, but I think the most important VIP that you guys can focus on Fridays is business people that have the capacity to refer you. So I'm lucky because I have more creative because there's not plenty of conduits to supporting your businesses. Less invasive, yes, to reach out to them. But and I don't want to them attorneys. I don't know about you, but in my current database of clients, right this second, I've got like 11 people going through divorces. 11 of my weird. So there's a lot of it, and it's a good. It creates sub purposes, right, within your prospecting. So a little different than mine. Payments you made are not achievable, right? One of the spouses can't actually finance. So it's like, what do we do now, right? Is you guys, well, in partnership with the lender, I would say is actually important, but we have the ability to pitch these people and say, hey, before you finalize agreements, it's to us. Let's run. Because neither cost them some, because drama is what pays them. Be another example, financial advisors, another example. Find business to business people in your VIP and refer you. And then only all divorce. 1 week you call all days. And top grading means you love them, you like talking to them, you see them at family parties, but you that's what top grading your list. Tuesday is contract status calls. So any buyer or seller in contract, you're touching base with them on Tuesdays. It's just to give an update, but you can turn those into sales calls. Like a good way of turning those into sales calls is just pivot and say, man, how do you feel like the process is going? And if, like the way I do it is, how do you think my team's doing? Sometimes we say on a scale of 1 to 10, it depends on the temperature of the client. But I really go down this conversation of how do you think the team's doing? Is there anything we could be doing better? You know what, and then generally for us, luckily, we've got things pretty dialed in. That's the normal script. They'll go in and start saying, man, they're doing such a great job. I can't believe you guys did this or that or whatever, right? Because we do some frilly things and they're really excited. That's my opportunity to pivot and say, man, that's awesome. Well, do you know anyone that might be in the market that could use our services and would appreciate the experience we're delivering you? I know that you said last time you bought, it was a horror story and miserable, and you closed late and you lost earnest money on one house, whatever the case is. Our experience is much better. And then I show them that first little infographic that I showed you guys in our consultations. So I'll resort back to, we've got tons of clients that review us online and trust in what we do. Who do you know that might be in the market? And if they don't know anybody, say, well, listen, I'm 100% referral-based business. If there's anybody that please think of me and send them to our team. We help anybody that, for me, I say I help anybody that wants to buy or refinance or build a home in any state in the nation. So anyone you run into, I can help. And even if they're not ready right now, I can at least be a resource. And normally they'll echo that comment like, yeah, man, we worked with you for 6 months and you really helped us do X, Y, and Z. So the point on those status calls, how to turn those into a information they need, which is what the status of the deal is, and then poll them on how well you think the team's doing. And you guys should be polling them on how well do you think my team is doing, which should include me, the lender, should include the title rep, should include, anybody who's on your team, not just your staff. And then you can start, and as long as it's going well, you can pivot to getting referrals. If it's going bad, you know where to correct things and get back on course. They're not just avoiding you and hanging up on you, but you hit those people up once a week, and it makes it, in my opinion, once a week is enough, but not too much. Unless they've specifically said I'm out of town next week, then of course skip them. But you want to hit those hang up on you. My coach in the core often says, people constantly, like for years, and we convert buyers after 3 years in our system that we never did a contract with before. So cold leads, I think, week, but maybe you could sprinkle in like a video. You could call them once a month and then do a video and then a newsletter 1 week, or somehow touch them. But those of you that have a big database, like we have an enormous database of. There are 52 weeks in the year and there's 26 letters in the alphabet. So if you call the last names A, week 1, B, week 2, C, week 3, so on and so forth, you'll touch every past client twice a year. And then there's not really any purpose to it besides just checking in. Are you thinking about making any moves? You know, it keeps it very simple. It's not a pointed conversation, which I think is important because you want these conversations to flourish into maybe some questions or somebody's buying, and then you pivot to what your purpose is. Mine is helping people create wealth. So I get all excited about talking stats whenever that, you know, opportunity arises. Now, and I've got the numbers and I'm just like crossing them off as I'm driving down the road, calling these people. So additional theme because you staff up and people can take the stuff you don't like doing, which is the problems, and you can keep getting more deals. So any questions? No? Sweet. And the last thing is accountability. So you all know I'm a big fan of accountability. I just feel like the more pressure I can put on myself to execute on what I said I was going to do, the more I'm going to do it. And when I said it in the mood I said it in, it has probably left me. But if I stay accountable to it and it's painful enough, like the wife gets mad or the team gives me crap in the team meeting or I have to pay a fine or something like that, I'm going to do it, right? So creating a level of accountability and real legitimate accountability, like make it hurt. For me, I hate giving money to stuff that I don't want to give money to, right? So that bothers me. So I do a big penalty on my greatness tracker. I don't like my wife being pissed or my kids eating without me. So that's another one, you know, for my end of day wrap up, those types of things, make it painful accountability. And as long as you feel some pain, some people like pleasure. I think that's good if you break like a huge record for the year. Pleasure is good, but on a week to week or month to month basis, it's like, make it painful. Your pleasure should be succeeding and doing what you told yourself you were going to do. That's just my opinion. You can do whatever you want. But what we see here is a greatness tracker. I've talked to several of you about this. This is some self-accountability, but something I use every day and every week, both in my coaching, but also with my team and even with accountability with you guys. I have another accountability group here at the office. This is what I use, and I could share this form with you, but it basically breaks down all of and this is curated from the core. And the core, like I said, is, I don't know, probably 650 of the top producing lenders and realtors around the nation are using this and executing at a super high level. So I don't really question that. I just do what they're doing and I'm going to be successful. That's what this form is. So every week I have to see, well, this says up to 5 people. Your guys's might be a little different. So, and I'll get it to you. There's some instructions on how to execute on this that I can give to you as well. So anybody that's interested, let me know. But it's basically face-to-faces, break breads, which is like a lunch, a coffee, something like that. Great phone calls with leads, referral partners, past clients or current clients. And I say you don't count that's a talk to or a conversation. You don't count that unless it's legitimately over the phone. I don't count anything that's text or anything else. It's only a phone call. And if it's a phone call, I have to have asked for business somehow. And I've programmed myself to ask for business because I got fined like an SOB on this for years because I couldn't fill it up. And I'm like, dude, what am I doing wrong? So I found ways to implement to fill it up. And so now my scripting is just naturally, I always ask for business, but great phone calls. And then it goes down a little further. There's like thank you cards. There are industry events, a few other things, but these are, I would say, the most important besides thank you cards. You got to get 10 thank you cards out per week. And then the very bottom, you tally your efforts. So you see how many leads or referrals you got. On mine, I only count. So this is really a recipe for a referral-based business. Unless you're calling cold leads in the off time when you're not getting referrals as you're building. This to me is a referral-based business, which I would say is the dream of, or, you know, I mean, it is the dream. It's my dream. I won't tell anybody else what their dream should be, but I would say getting referrals is important. So I count my referrals down at the bottom. I count, and then you guys would count, we count different steps, but you guys would count buyer contracts and listing contracts. And then you can watch this. So I have these from years and years back, and you can see the trends. So I watch when I've got a super busy week of a bunch of dials, a bunch of talk tos, the following week, or maybe the week after that, is always a blow up lead week. So you start seeing things come to fruition. So that's like the self-accountability or self-validation, I guess, of this form. But then also I just take this into my team meeting. I have to, TJ and I both have to report on it every day. If we don't fill it up, we pay fines. I get on my coaching call. I pay fines if it's not filled up. So accountability, not to beat a dead horse. This form, I would say you all should implement it. It's been the biggest game-changing single thing in my business over the whole time I've been in the business. This is the single biggest shift in my business, which is really the recipe to this whole presentation, is this form. So I would say anybody that wants it, hit me up. I would be happy to share it, but accountability is the biggest cap. So getting your time in order and making sure you can honor what you have to do your job, which is prospect, right? So getting time management in order, then prospecting, having a plan so that things can't knock you off the rails and you can continue executing, and some level of accountability, because we can all excuse ourselves more graciously than I would excuse you for sure. So I could be your accountability partner, but that's all I have. So any questions? Good. Awesome. Okay, cool. I'll send those. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Good to see you all. Could you just send this out? Cool. Sweet.
I guess that was my phone. All right,
Probably
well,
not.
we've got lunch in the back.